That's all I know. Did you guys hear about how can I find this? Did you guys hear about how Whole Foods CEO dipshit McCapitalism Stein was on Joe Rogan, and what's his name? John Mackey. He was on Joe Rogan and he talked about how owning a business is like surviving the Holocaust. I'm not lying to you. He's like, owning a business is like going through the Holocaust. You are persecuted. All right, you're discriminated against when you own business in this tumultuous time. Wow. Not only is it wow, I want to watch it.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Back to the subject of capitalism and Marxism and socialism. This right now we're in a wave of this, right? It's become more popular now. I would say over the last, particularly during the Trump administrations, the concept of socialism at least has become more publicly discussed than any time that I can remember in my life.
You can thank Bernie for that. Thanks, buddy. You really made it happen.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because the generation that's coming up is, I mean, you have to understand the academic community is I always say the intellectuals have always been the enemy of business.
So like economists are the enemy of business? Engineers? Mathematicians? Architects? The enemy of business. Okay.
Enemy of certainly.
People who, as you can see, Joe, people who think are the enemy of business. This guy's just mad because the smarter you are, the more you realize that, hey, maybe the system that we have right now isn't working out too well. This guy wants freaking dumb as fuck, grug Neanderthals to pull the levers in his factory, and every time they take a second to pick their nose or want to go pee, he'll like crack the whip over their head and tell them to get back to work. And if they work for 52 hours straight, he'll give them $1 extra and 10 minutes off per year, so they can go see their family or something. And this is what he wants. This is the life that this guy wants to live. Yeah, the dumbasses are good at consuming. Yep. People who think, they ruin business.
In an enemy of capitalism.
But why is that?
I think because in a market society, which has been rare in history, we haven't mostly had market societies, but they're not very important in a market society.
The intellectuals aren't very important?
Generally not as important, no.
But are they the ones that inspire the minds of the people that create and maybe innovate in the industry?
They don't have the same
This makes literally no sense. He's just like, people who think are not part of what. This goes completely against what I hear from a lot of people who are staunch capitalists. They're like, these people, they learn so much and they're so smart. The smartest of the smart are the ones at the top here, because you need to be so smart to do this and do that and manage and delegate and do this. Those people are the smart ones. Now he's like, oh, it's the smart ones that are ruining society. What do you mean market-based economy? We've always had market-based economies. What does this guy mean by market? Just people selling things to each other, like mercantilism? Like what does this guy mean? I'm genuinely curious. As a physicist, I feel personally attacked. If it wasn't just obvious corporate propaganda, yeah, he's trying real hard. Okay, his shareholders are watching. He's trying real hard to make it to make this sound good.
Social status that the entrepreneurs have, an Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos.
So you think it's an ego issue? The social status issue?
Think about it this way. If you're going to school, okay, and the people that end up teaching in the universities were always the smartest kids in the school generally, and they did well in school. I mean, smart in terms of doing well in school. And they go on to college, and then they go and get a PhD, and then they that's all they've known is school. That's been their universe, right? And they excelled at it. And they were smarter than the other kids in school. And now these other kids, they go to college and they get a degree in business and they're in a fraternity and they make a lot of friends and relationships and they make more money than the intellectuals do. And that seems like that's completely unfair. It's an unjust world that this less smart people are making more money than the smart people do.
What the fuck is happening? less smart people make more money than the smart people do, and they're like, ah, yes, this is terrible, so doctors must make the same as janitors or something. I find it very hard to keep up with this guy's line of reasoning. I want to back up like a little
college, and then they go and get a PhD. And
wait, so school is all they know. All right. I will say there are some people, there are some, I think surgeons in particular, surgeons have horrible bedside manner generally, like not general practitioners. I'm talking about people like neurosurgeons and stuff like that. People who practice a whole lot. They only know how to work on people who are knocked the fuck out. Okay. They don't know how to talk to people who are awake and who need sympathy and things like that, who are struggling. They don't know how to do it. That's what nurses are for. All right. They just can't possibly do it. I see people like this all the time. Who is it? Alexander, Alexander, don't you work for Epic Games or something along those lines? I know for a fact you work in the games industry. Aren't there some like weird ass people in the games industry? People who don't have that many like good people skills. There are people who work and who do a job, who do a craft, who spend a lot of time in that craft, who may not have great people skills, but that's different than being smart.
And then they that's all they kid eternity, and they make a lot of friends and relationships, and they make more money than the intellectuals do. And that seems like that's completely unfair. It's an unjust world, that this less smart people are making more money than the smart people do, and they have more status in the society. And I think that's underlying it is a resentment or an envy of a society that doesn't judge them to be as important as they judge themselves.
Wow, what the fuck? It's a really tell of it's a big tell of someone when all they think of their the people who criticize them are just they're like, oh, they spent all their time in school and they weren't out there doing the real shit. They weren't in the trenches like me. Those types of people, they're usually like they got some problems. Okay, I don't want to say like narcissist or anything, but they definitely portray some narcissistic tendencies where everybody who doesn't like them is envious of them. Maybe they just don't like you because they're smart enough to understand that what you're doing is wrong.
That's interesting, but I think it's a very flawed perspective. And first of all,
SNSMS, Jeb, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining the frenzy and being so incredibly pog. I appreciate you. How are you doing tonight? This is just pure gaslighting. You wouldn't ever ever bother listening to anyone someone says who profits. Oh my gosh, holy fuck. I can't. These last couple days, reading out loud has been such a problem for me. I feel like I feel like I need new glasses, honestly. I feel like my prescription changed because, or maybe I have late fucking dyslexia or something, because when I see a bunch of words now, they kind of just jumble together. I'm like Percy Jackson, just not as cool. You would never bother listening to anything someone says whose profits depend on pushing this capitalist ideology doctrine. Big true. This guy's entire mind you, because this is a big PR thing, right? So this you're completely on the money for me. Transylvania. That's actually a really funny name, actually. Thank you. This guy's whole thing, this guy's job is to maximize profits for his bosses, which are the shareholders. They put him in this position. I mean, I own stocks, so I get to vote on CEOs, which is actually really funny. I've never voted for a CEO, but I do technically get to vote for CEOs since I own some stocks. And because of that, I am incentivized to vote for the person who's going to maximize my profit to make green line go up on my stock portfolio, and not do good things like make sure the company's environmental footprint is good, or make sure that they aren't treating their workers like trash, things like that. My incentive isn't to do that. That actually goes counter to the incentive, because usually the company has to delegate more money that way, and that doesn't go into things like stock buybacks that make me money. So,
the term "smart" is a weird term.
I said smart in terms of school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say in terms of street smarts or ability to do things, to connect with people.
They're great at their jobs and brilliant at some technical stuff, but lack people skills. Yeah, and people skills are important, but if you're just going to be a hardcore code monkey or whatever, and you're good at your one job, you're like the best at what you do, I don't. Sometimes you can make good money from that if that's just what you do. If you're like a senior programmer or something, you can make some good money off of that. I'm not sure if you make more than I don't know, some like school professor. A professor can be doing a whole bunch of things. They could be writing books. I'm not sure how many coders or whatever who spend all of their time coding or whatever are going to write too many books. Personally,
Emotional intelligence. I'm merely saying they're good at taking tests, writing papers, abstracting thoughts, essentially.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. That
what? They don't wait. They're not good at their jobs or anything, or talking to people or teaching. Those sorts of people. Or the type of people who like work with people all the time, professors. They're not good at that, or relaying information. That's an important feat, because science is one thing. We need science explainers. Bill. I was gonna say Bill Gates. Bill Nye, he's not like a scientist. Bill Nye doesn't write papers or anything. Bill Nye doesn't conduct like actual scientific experiments and research study papers. He doesn't do that. He explains science to people so they can understand it. He's the one who reads the stuff. So you can understand it. He'll put on the funny show. He'll put on the hat and do a little wonky dance as he tells you what quantum particles do. That's his job. And while obviously it's not as rigorous as making a study or something along those lines, it's vitally important to have people understand what's going on. The little intermediary between the academic world and the people world. He knows that his success depends on people who actually innovate. The researchers, the scientists, the engineers. Capitalists don't innovate. They just move capital around. Absolutely. Big true. Yeah, this guy, he's not the one. It's so funny to me when I hear people talk about all of these CEOs or whatever. CEOs, not even like people who put the company together. People who are elected to that position. They think that they're in they're in the science room creating the science. Elon Musk is like building the rockets or whatever. He's the one controlling it. He's just the front man. He can delegate. That's what he does. That's all he does actually.
just the term smart, it's almost like, problem is it's like a blank.
Hey, the family's here for Thanksgiving. Hey, vibes. Thanks for coming, and you don't have. I mean, you don't have to stay. I appreciate you for stopping by, but if your family is if your family's there, I appreciate you for stopping by anyway. It's always nice to see you in chat.
Term, right? It's like drugs. You know, like it applies to a bunch of different things that don't necessarily seem to be related. But the people that are interested in that pursue that. The fact that they can't understand that there's an like Elon Musk is a great example. If you don't think Elon Musk is intelligent, you're either you're
not very intelligent yourself. If you don't think Elon Musk is intelligent.
You're delusional, or you're a liar, or you're in denial.
Well, it depends on what you mean by intelligence. Intelligence means so many different things. There's emotional intelligence, there's technical intelligence. You can be the world's greatest shit juggler. Like you could make any piece of shit juggle, okay? Hershey squirts, pellet droppings, them large nugs. You can be the world's greatest shit juggler, okay? And you can start a business on shit juggling. And that can be amazing and everything. That doesn't mean that you're the smartest guy in the room, no matter where you walk into. All right. It's cool and everything at what you do, but that doesn't mean that you're super intelligent, or you're super good with people, or you know how to build the rockets, or you're the one making the fucking like California space tunnel that was never finished and had to be abandoned because it was way too much money, or the dude who put together the little submarine for the Taiwanese boys who were stuck in that cave as a PR stunt, and then sent it to them and got mad when they didn't use it because it didn't work. It was gonna probably get them drowned. Just you're good at what you do. Fine. You're good at being a CEO. You're good at delegating. You're good at managing. That's perfectly fine, and that's cool. I don't think that he's, it depends on what you mean by smart, but smarter than the engineers, the scientists, the people putting it together, the people making sure the lights stay on. I'm not sure if you're smarter than those people. Not necessarily. Zach's Music Box, thank you so much for joining the frenzy and being so incredibly pog. I appreciate you. How are you doing tonight? Oh, the chat family. Oh, my bad. Yeah, we're vibing tonight. Also, Wiki says this dude started his first business, Safer Way, after borrowing $10,000 and raising $35,000 more. What the fuck? Raising money. Around 1978. That's a lot of money. Round that to Run that to 1980, that's 45,000. It's equivalent to $124,000 today. And can't find and also I can't find out how much, but his father was a professor of accounting, CEO of LifeMark and a healthcare company. Nice. Invested in Whole Foods too. So yeah, he's just have a rich CEO father and easy access to $150,000 cash to buy a three-story building, and you can start your very first humble health food store. Yeah, come on. All you need, just like how people say that Apple started in a garage, and they didn't get like a massive loan, like $100,000 or something along those lines. These people have from their uncle or something. These people have massive starts. Very few people start from the ground up, like working at fucking Target and then become a massive CEO. This very rarely happens. Very, very rarely. But Shark, you simply don't understand that we need a manager. Otherwise, nothing would get done. Yes, if you never have someone to threaten you with not being able to pay your rent next week, then we'll never get anything done. Come on, guys. Come on.
Right. It's one.
You suspect Elon drunk his own Kool-Aid. He sniffs his own fart so much that he may actually believe he's a genius. I think he might. I think he actually might. Yeah. Isn't Elon's family also like super duper rich? Oh, it's no AJ, Daddy Shark. I don't know if you follow football, but do you have a take on the Ravens situation? I don't follow football. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, okay? If you come back tomorrow, I'll ask my brother and my cousin and my dad because they follow football, and I'll formulate my own conclusion, okay? I'll write a 3.5 paragraph essay for you, and I'll read it out, and you can see my take on it, okay? I love you. Mwah.
One of those things. Is something wrong with the way you think? He's clearly intelligent. But there's people that call him a fool, and that like the guy's running like 4 different businesses simultaneously. They're all successful, and he's innovating when it comes to space travel in a way that you would assume that someone have to dedicate most of their life just singularly to that task to be able to figure out past NASA how to shoot a rocket up into space and have it land.
Right.
Well, the thing is, yeah, you do have to dedicate your entire life to innovating, having a rocket shoot up into space and land. But that's a good thing because Elon Musk isn't doing that. He's not in the room. He's not toiling away on the schematics of how to make it work. He's not putting the wires together. He's not welding the rivets on the rocket. He's not filling the rocket. He's not even driving the rocket to the field. He doesn't do that. He delegates people to delegate people to delegate people to delegate people to do that. That's what he does. That's what he does. And then he just sits in to listen to the returns and see how the company's going. That's what he does. He's a manager. Managers don't have their hands dirty. The ones who spend all the time learning how to do those things. They hire the managers. My bad. Yeah, they do. They even hire the managers. They hire the scientists. They hire the engineers. They hire the people who spent their lives doing this. Hundreds of nameless people who don't get their name in the end credits. It's all Elon Musk, and he takes all the glory for all the work that they do putting into this company to make sure that it is what it is. Without them, it wouldn't exist. Elon Musk cannot build a rocket all on himself. He can't do it. I'm not even sure necessarily he knows exactly how it works. I'm not going to lie to you.
And then reuse it. No one's been able to do that besides him, or up until he did it. And I think Jeff Bezos' company is doing the same thing too now.
Blue Origin.
Yeah.
They're obviously two of the great entrepreneurs of this particular era.
But I don't think Jeff Bezos is actually engineering these things.
But if you think about it, the intellectuals.
Hey, I read that Zach's music box. Don't think I didn't. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'm glad that you enjoyed the channel, and I'm happy that you enjoyed Thanksgiving with your family. Hopefully not your not immediate family. All right. Take care of yourself and don't try to spread as little COVID as possible. Okay. I want to be able to make it through this. I am kind of tired of wearing masks personally, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Have always
skip back to
Blue Origin.
Yeah.
They're obviously two of the great entrepreneurs of this particular era.
But I don't think Jeff Bezos is actually engineering these things.
But if you think about it, the intellectuals have always disliked business. They've always discriminated against the merchant classes.
What the fuck? Always discriminate. Oh my gosh, this guy, he thinks he's a persecuted minority group. My man thinks that he needs protection under the 1964 Civil Rights Act. My man thinks that he's getting the new segregation. My man goes to his like golf resort, and it's like and it's like there's two water fountains, and one says the haves and one says the have-nots, and the haves is only slightly gold plated. It's only gold plated with 16 karat gold and not 24. And he cries himself to sleep because of this horrible persecution, the discrimination. The new Jim Crow is here, and it's against the ruling class. It's very sad.
Jews in the West, Chinese in the East. There's really been no historical period where intellectuals praised business. Maybe a little bit around the time of Adam Smith, up until probably Ricardo and Malthus wrote in the early 19th century.
Did you guys ever hear what Adam Smith wrote about landlords? Now, personally, I don't have like a super epic nuclear take on landlords like a lot of people do. I don't have any feelings toward landlords much. Like just the idea of someone owning a house. Obviously I can see, the obvious problems with it, but when it that's a whole nother topic for another day. Also, why the fuck does he have a Ganesh statue? Wait, did you see this? Why does he have a Ganesh statue? Where did this come from? Are people okay with that? Is this what Spotify money buys you? He's in the freaking he's in an X-wing right now. My man's sitting in an entire X-wing with a gold statue of Ganesh. Why? What? Who decided to pick this as a? Also, what's up with a bunch of, listen, I don't want to say white, but what's up with a bunch of people, especially like the creators or whatever, who love statues of Ganesh? This was like a thing earlier in the year, right? There was an artist who put out a music video, and she had a little statue of Ganesh behind her, and it made a bunch of Indian people mad. What is it? I don't get it. Hot take: landlords are parasites. Listen, if you believe that, I mean, that's perfectly fine. I can understand the line of I can perfectly understand the line of reasoning. It's just not something that I subscribe to right now. I feel I can have my mind changed on it if I get like really good arguments. Personally, I've seen a lot of arguments and I haven't necessarily been swayed, but it's something I can change my mind on in the future. Anyways, yeah, I just don't get it why everybody loves Ganesh this much. It's so weird to me. Look up Musk family emerald mines. They made a fortune in apartheid in South Africa. That sounds exactly like something Elon Musk's family did, honestly. He touched Giuliani's COVID juice in his face in the past week. I'm vaccinated. Dude, I think you may die. Like, that is cursed juice. Can you imagine? Like, did you see, like, on his collar how it started to soak into his white shirt? You know for a fact he had to throw that white shirt away. That was disgusting. Looking at Giuliani melt like the freaking wicked witch of the West. I hate that so much. I hate it.
For the most part, business people have been seen, they're disruptive. They change things. They upset the status quo. They innovate. Well, a lot of people don't.
What the fuck? What? Wait, I got to hear that again. I'm sorry.
Ricardo and Malthus wrote in the early 19th.
But anyways, no, my bad. Sorry, I didn't even finish my thought. Anyways, Adam Smith didn't like landlords. He thought landlords were bad. So I don't know if he subscribes to what Adam Smith's version of what landlords do, but whatever.
Century. For the most part, business people have been seen, they're disruptive. They change things. They upset the status quo.
They change things? Well, in primitive accumulation, they did change things. They took places that were publicly owned, they fenced them off, they made them privately owned, and then forced people who made their living off of that land to pay them to now live. Yeah, so they did change things for the worse, actually.
They innovate. Well, a lot of people don't.
They innovate. I don't think they innovate specifically. They're a manager. The people under them innovate. The people who they take the labor from innovate. They innovate.
I like innovations. It's threatening. It changes.
Business upset the status quo. Yeah. Everything was perfectly fine in our Does this guy think that we used to live in a communist? Well, my bad. What I don't know. In like the 1700s, we lived in a communist utopia, and everything was perfect and everything was chill until the Fire Nation attacked, and the Fire Nation was Jeff Bezos, this guy, Adam Smith, and I don't know, like Clifford the Big Red Dog, and they all came in and changed the status quo and bought up business and then ruined everything. I don't know, dude. I don't think this is how history worked. He's like, I don't know. Maybe if it is, we need to revert to tradition. Okay, I'm just gonna try to go back to my traditional values. I watch primitive technology, and a tear drops from my eye. Okay, a tear drops because I know that this is the life that I could be living, sitting barefoot, hunched over, building a mud hut, and that is honestly the communist dream.
It changes social status. It changes wealth relationships. That it's almost like capital.
It does change wealth relationships. That's bad. It's not good.
Capitalism is like a genie that got out of the bottle, and they're trying very hard to stuff the genie back in the bottle as much as they can. And
Okay, so here's my genie back of the beautiful genie. Leave Clifford out of this. Aren't they making like a live action Clifford? Wait, did you guys see that? Is this was it what is it was this a joke? Wait a second. Was this a meme? Clifford live action. Aren't they making a live action? Wait, they are. Wait, they are actually.
We're thankful for the pets whose love got us through the year.
Or they just made one.
But next year, get ready to love even bigger.
What are you drinking tonight, Shark? I have a vodka. Well, right now I'm drinking a Monster Energy juice because I'm going to be recording a video after the stream, and I'm also drinking a massive jug of water that I froze and then unfroze. So it's ice cold. All right, and you know we all know what's cooler than being cool. It's ice cold. So that's what I'm drinking tonight, and maybe if I feel like it, I'll drink some alcohol later tonight. That's some white people shit. That does give me big white people energies. I'm not gonna lie to you. Anyways, so here's how I think about a lot of these companies. Sorry, I didn't want to go back to that. Here's how I think about a lot of these companies. All right, we have demons. We have demons in this country. All right, we have absolute monsters. It's like it's actual creatures that would rip this country to shreds. Or it's like Ragnarok, okay? In the day when Fenrir becomes unchained, it's like Ragnarok. We have monsters in this country, and those monsters are Fortune 500 companies. They would ravage this country. They would ruin the country. They would ruin people's lives. They already kill people. Flint, Michigan happened because of Nestle, and they still don't care, and they still weren't held responsible. The opioid crisis was happened because of pharmaceutical companies wanted to sell more of their drugs to doctors. So they bought them out and told them to give them their drug no matter what happened. They lied to insurance companies. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, how a lot of the opioid crisis happened, but people like what Purdue, I'm pretty sure, Purdue would literally call up insurance companies. Insurance companies would be like, are you sure? Does this, they'd be like, are you sure this person has X, Y, and Z disease? And they told their callers, don't say yes, don't say no, because then they can be held responsible. Say something like, like that. Because then when they go, you could be like, oh no, what they actually said was, And that was actually, they said no, but then they actually heard it as yes. And they actually did that. That was a tactic that they used. They taught people to do that so they could sell more of their drugs to insurance companies to get more people hooked on opioids. We have creatures in this country, demons that would ravage it, that are only chained by something that we call regulation. And Republicans and these CEOs are looking to revoke those regulations. They're looking to unshackle themselves. Corporations, these demons, pay politicians to unshackle them, to give them the key. They hypnotize them and tell them to bring them to key, to unchain them so they could wreak havoc on the American people and developing nations and the world as a whole. They are not good people and they cannot be allowed to do this. So in the sense, a genie, no, but listen, genie comes from a word that originates from the word demon is in Islam. So kind of.
I think if you think about it that way, you'll understand we're never going to win the intellectuals over. I mean, I speak in universities all the time, and the students, I'm an entrepreneur, I self-identify that way. Students love when I talk about conscious capitalism.
Jinn, yep, that's what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember it specifically. Jinn, yeah. Demon. Anyways, yeah, more people who think are terrible for business. Just stop thinking. This guy is literally fucking like, just stop. Don't think, buy product. He's like, stop thinking, buy product. Can also mean ghost, yeah.
You'll understand we're never going to win the intellectuals over. I mean, I speak in universities all the time, and the students, I'm an entrepreneur, I self-identify that way. Students love.
Is that a trans joke? Wait, unironically. I'm sorry. I've seen a lot of people do stuff like this. I'm unironically not sure if this was supposed to be a trans joke. I'm sorry.
When I talk about conscious capitalism, because I say you can do good and you can do well. There's no contradiction here. You're the good guys here. You're not the
Do you
bad
debate
guys.
people?
Holy crap. He's like, capitalists are actually, listen, when you're a capitalist, you're the good guy. Wait, go back. Wait.
Understand, we're never going to win the intellectuals over. I mean, I speak in universities all the time, and the students, I'm an entrepreneur. I self-identify that way.
I self-identify as an entrepreneur. Nice one.
Students love when I talk about conscious capitalism, because I say you can do good and you can do well. There's no contradiction
What the hell is conscious capitalism? What is that? Conscious capitalism sounds like separate but equal.
here. You're the good guys here. You're not.
No, I'm sorry. Listen, that's why I think in most 99% sure it wasn't. All I'm saying is I've heard so many conservatives try to slip in trans jokes now, like really bad ones. I was like, I'm not actually sure if that's what he was trying to do. I don't think he was, because like making fun of trans people is horrible for your bottom line. But
Not the
Do you
bad
debate
guys.
people about this?
I do. I've debated a number of socialists.
And what is
Really?
their primary argument?
I want to see this guy go up against Richard Wolff. Do you think that'd be really funny? I think it'd be extremely funny.
Primary argument is that business is greedy and selfish, and it's about motivations. That business people have the wrong motivations. In a lot of ways, conscious capitalism is an answer to that.
I mean, they
It's
do.
a complete answer to that, because in the book and in Conscious Leadership as well, we're basically arguing that business isn't.
Richard Wolff debated this guy. He did? Oh my gosh. But guys, I just manifested that. All right. Vibes was here. I manifested this. I was thinking about it. I was like, I would love to see Richard Wolff debate this guy. And I thought, listen, think and you shall receive. Okay. I hope this is a clear message to anybody who thinks that they cannot manifest things into reality. Cause I just did. You should really see the opening statement from Wolff. It's amazing. We'll watch. Yeah, we'll watch it. Keep a hold on it. And, we'll go over this and then we can go over it. Okay.
Primarily about maximizing profits. Business is primarily about creating value for other people.
Ooh, okay. Listen, when it comes to corporations, when you are a CEO, your obligation is to make as much money as possible for your shareholders. For, when he says maximize profit for other people, he's right. He's not maximizing profit for him. He's maximizing profit for his shareholders. Those are his bosses, the people who own the stocks, who own the company, in that sort of way. Those are the people. Yeah, conscious capitalism, TM. TMC and also R. Those are the people who he's maximizing profit and well-being for, not the stakeholders, the people who work the business or the people who rely on the business for essential services. That's not it. Okay, so that's weasel words right there. Yes, he basically said the same exact thing, but twice. His goal is to maximize profits as a CEO. He's legally obligated to do that. That's literally in his job description. That's what CEOs are for. When he says he's maximizing profits for other people, those other people are his bosses, the shareholders. That's how this works.
And through creating value for other people, you do make a profit. But it's the value creation that comes first. The profits come second in exchange, right? And it's almost, if you are creating value, then you are profitable. And then you can reinvest those profits and you have this upwards spiral. So that's that.
Dog, this is the fattest propaganda that I've seen in a while. This is a lot of propaganda.
Business has its potential for higher purpose. It's not primarily about greed. Greed is found in human nature, Joe. It's not just found in business people. There are plenty of greedy governmental officials, plenty of greedy politicians, greedy lawyers. Greed is endemic to the human nature. Business people either have no more or no less than it.
That's true. Business people don't have more or less greed than anybody else. They're not like built different, okay? They're not like the orcs from WoW who are a special breed of alien who are here just to ooga booga bonk, and make money. That's not what they're not worse people. They aren't born worse. They're not born different, okay? They weren't born with the mark of the CEO when they came into the world. The baby's born and the doctor looks at him and then he goes, oh, no. And he flips the baby over and on the back there's the TM mark, trademark. He's like, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. Your son is a CEO. No, that didn't happen. But they have more opportunity to do more damage in the world. than other people who are greedy. When you're greedy and you work at Target and you steal a tube of chapstick out of the back room, out of the storage room, okay, that's one thing. When you're greedy and you're the Nesquik CEO and you poison an entire city, leading 1/3 of the children there to grow up with learning disabilities, that's another type of greed, okay? It's on a whole nother level. You hurt way more people. This guy's a buffoon. No wonder he can sleep peacefully at night. Yeah, he doesn't care. He's deluded himself into believing that he's the good guy in the story. He's the protagonist in this story. And Joe Rogan is the comedic relief, and his oppressors are Bernie Sanders and AOC for thinking that he should pay more taxes.
It's just part of who we are.
Has anyone ever laid it out in a way that's very compelling? Like when you have these debates with socialists and has anyone ever laid it out in a way where they have a point where you see their point?
You always,
Oh my gosh, he was like, my man doesn't even understand that there are people out there who actually believe in their heart that they think that he's a bad person and what he's doing is wrong. He's like, no, I can't even possibly imagine that. If you're the World Bank's definition of poverty, most homeless Americans do not qualify as being in poverty. I know they don't. Yeah, I know they don't. There's a horrible definition of poverty. 1 second. I have way too many links open in here. I'm sorry. Wait a second. I'm sorry. Why do I have all these freaking links open, dog? Okay, here we go. What is this? Whole Foods CEO targeting unionization. Whole Foods CEO arguing for capital. Yeah, wait, wasn't that a thing? Like they scientifically made like a Jarvis style AI algorithm to track the heat signatures of employees to see if they were thinking about talking to someone about unionizing, and then they just closed the store down if they found like one or two. It was wild stuff that they did. You can't even sit here and try to talk to me about how you're conscious capitalism, you care about your stakeholders, if you put forth like a fucking Cortana AI to track down employees trying to unionize in your company. Sorry, it just doesn't work that way.
the best way to do a debate is completely understand the other side's position.
Yeah.
Understand it as good or better than they understand it. And so I've read widely in socialistic literature. I think I do understand it.
Holy crap, this guy's like Vosh. Someone asked him if he's read any theory, and his response is, but unironically, I've read all theory. He's I understand socialism better than any socialist. I've engaged in all socialist literature. I've read all theory. All right. Then he reaches behind his neck. He pulls the mask off, and it's actually Karl Marx himself. He fluffs the beard back out. And he's like, because I wrote it. I don't know. Oh my gosh.
It's a type of utopianism. It's an
Oh, okay, thank you. Yep. They're looking for a perfect world. They can't have it. You must know that you need someone to lord over you. You can't possibly imagine thinking and doing things for yourself.
attempt to change human nature. If we would all love each other, and if we'd all share equally, then the world would be a better place. And hey, guess what? It probably would be if we were naturally that way, but we're not naturally that way. We look first generally for ourselves and our own families, and then our growing circle of relationships that we develop. It's natural to want your own children to have advantages. That's just human nature, to want your children to flourish, because you.
This is so weird. It's always a really weird argument to me, because it's predicated on the idea that humans are that humans are individualistic, when we've always, like, all science has proven that we are a community-based animal. That's why people talk about how solitary confinement is a form of torture, because we are not we're not lone wolves, okay? I'm not Batman. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. We need other people to do things. We're successful because we are communal, because we work together. That's why we are successful, not because we do things alone. I don't think that even other animals in nature prove this. There's a reason why there's things like wolf packs and lion packs and animals move in herds. You're more successful when you do things with others. This is just well known. We are not super duper selfish. Obviously, you want yourself to do well, but we do well when others do well. This is just how life works. That's how. Not only is that also, you know what? That's also how mafia works. That's how mafia works, and that's how society works. No one built an entire city, okay, all by themselves. It just didn't happen, and then people came, and they're the lord of city. It doesn't work that way. Other people do things, and we work communally together to build things. That's the only way we make things great, when we work together. This is such a weird argument.
Raise them, you love them. And somehow or another to say that's unfair is cutting against human nature. People are always going to look for advantages or privileges, so to speak, for their children.
Yeah, people don't like when people have advantages and have victories, because then someone has to lose. And when someone loses, they equate that someone losing with a bad feeling, with that person being victimized. Like just some.
So here's a big idea we talk about in conscious leadership. We have a chapter called Find Win-Win-Win Solutions. The metaphors that we use to think about society tend to be very binary. Good versus evil.
Oh, my man. But look, guys, it's the CEO finding win-win-win solutions. I win by getting a $3 billion severance check when I ruin the company and you guys lose your jobs. My stockholders win because they can pull out of the market. I'm making $300 from each share. And you win by... you get to breathe still. And isn't that a blessing every day? Okay.
Light versus darkness, win versus lose. And so they tend to think of business as a win-lose game. Somebody wins and somebody else is losing. But the beauty of capitalism is it's a win-win-win game. It's an infinite game. It's a game because the customers are winning or they wouldn't trade. The employees are winning. How are the customers?
Oh my gosh. They're winning or they wouldn't trade. I'm not sure if that's necessarily how all economies work. I don't think that people just buy because that's the best option. There are lots of things that companies can do to play that game. Monopoly is one massive thing. You can make a massive monopoly while not necessarily being the best. You can be in the best position to do that. Amazon didn't turn a profit for a real long time, but it had enough money behind it to keep going and not have to worry about its bottom line, the same way other companies had to do. This is not it just doesn't listen. Okay, for me personally, I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to say something that is demonstrably false here, but I do know that markets are not perfect and capitalism is definitely not perfect. And people don't just buy because it's the best option.
Customers winning, they're getting products and services and there's competition to make those services and products better. The employees are winning because they have jobs and opportunities to grow.
That's why we have what's it called? What are those laws called that popped up during the Industrial Revolution, especially for Standard Oil? What are those laws called? I forget. It's I can't remember it off the top of my head. Man, how unfortunate. Capitalism isn't perfect.
Benefits are paid, and they do.
You're right. This is malarkey. I'm sorry.
Not forced to work for any particular company. They do it because they think it's in their best
antitrust. Yeah, antitrust laws. Companies were like colluding together, so they won't have to fight with innovation, and they would just be able to force people's hand into paying for them. Yeah, companies can also run other companies out by unethical means. Or be in better positions for them and then give them worse outcomes. Drink water? Okay, I got you. Time to take a sip from the water jug. That's good. Actually, it is really good. I like this. I used to keep around a water jug a lot. I stopped for a while, but I think I'm going to start again. I just have to make sure to clean it.
Interest win for the employees. The suppliers who are trading with the business, they're winning as.
Listen, when we fire you and close down your store because we heard you say the word union once over the AI speaker system that is always listening to your voice and our super high tech technology that reads your brainwaves and picks up whether you may even be thinking about unions, and we fire you for that. Listen, when we do that, that's you winning. You you win.
as well, or they wouldn't make the exchanges. Investors are winning, or they wouldn't make the investments. And the larger society is winning because business is the engine that creates all the money that goes into nonprofits and governments. Without business, there is no government, and there is no nonprofit sector, because those are ultimately supplied through what business creates. So business is a win-win-win game. All of these stakeholders are winning, and that's why capitalism lifts society up.
It lifts all boats. Guys, all boats get lifted, okay? No one loses. No one loses. All right. Man, wild capitalism going. Wild propaganda going on tonight.
To reverse that back to a win-lose game. And that's why it always fails. And
the government. That is a wild claim. The government never existed before. Guys, if there wasn't me, if I never existed, okay, you guys wouldn't even have a government. That's a win. That's a win. It's a win. It's a win. I win. My shareholders win. You guys get the government that I buy. It's just such a win. You guys get the government because we made the government, because capitalism, it comes before all. If you guys didn't know, all right, when you guys think about what happened from the Big Bang, it was capitalism. That's the first thing that came from the Big Bang. All right, and it was this guy, the head of Whole Foods. He is not just a man. He is a primordial being from another trillion years ago, who spawned from the Big Bang, who blessed us with capitalism and government, because that works.
And that's why capitalism.
How is it an
wins.
attempt to bring it back to a win-lose game? In what way?
The ones that are winning, so to speak, the business people are clamped down, so they're not allowed to win. It's like, we're going to take your success and we're going to redistribute it.
Oh my gosh, here it is. Okay, so everyone's winning. Okay, the massive wealth inequality gap, where Elon Musk went from being worth $35 million to $135 million over the course of this single year during the pandemic, where 26 million Americans slipped into poverty. 70% of Americans are worrying about whether they may not be able to pay for food or this month, and I think now 80% of Americans can't may not be able to pay for a $400 emergency. Listen, think about the business owners a little bit, okay? They take your money and they redistribute to these people who are winning, I guess. Because in this guy's theory, those people are already winning. They're already winning. Guys, the wealth gap is good. Look at those numbers going up in the stock thingy. More stock money. Dude, stock money good. When stock money go up, everybody win, okay? We're all winning. So in this guy's scenario, people who can't afford to put their kids through school, people who may not be able to feed their children because they're not in school right now and aren't and can't get those free lunches, people who are getting evicted right now, people who may not be able to put food on the table, people who have to skip their medication payments. These people are winning, and he's upset because he's going to be clamped down by the government, so he won't be able to win, so they can give his winning to people who are already winning. That's incredible to me. 13.8 billion years is the furthest back you can go. Trillion is a bit much. Anything's possible with capitalism.
So that, as again, you said earlier on, incentives matter. But we're going to take away the incentives for business to really flourish and succeed. They should do it from altruistic reasons. And we may do some things for altruistic reasons, but you cannot build a society around it.
You can't build a society around altruism. You can't build a society around people wanting to do good things. I don't know. I think that's the most that we can get from this video. Okay? Him saying that being a business owner is like going through the Holocaust. Can you imagine if Bernie Sanders won, what this guy would be saying? He'd be like hyperventilating. He'd wake up in cold sweats thinking about his taxes being raised. Oh my goodness, dude. That's wild. Check journal for the segment. Okay. I got you. All right. What an amazing time. What an amazing ride with Whole Foods CEO. I love that guy.